Hi, Ms. Murali. Good evening.
Good evening.
I just thought this would be a good day for having a post-observation conference.
Okay.
I really enjoyed watching you teach the lesson on 9/11 this year.
Okay.
And I really appreciate you because this is your second year of teaching, and last year you were subbing. The whole year you were a sub, and now this year you are a teacher, and you really moved way up from last year's performance to this year. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Just touching base with the lesson.
Okay.
Do you think the a lesson went the way you had planned?
Actually, no. The lesson was to give them an introduction into the second chapter, and we had taken a pre-assessment test on Friday. So we wanted to see how the students know about motion, like what do you have the basic idea about speed, because they all drive or they have a car, they have seen them moving, so just wanted to get an idea. But when we got into the lesson, I realized that the kids didn't really, were not interested in focusing on it, or they didn't connect it at all. But so after my first period, I had to revamp the lesson again so that my second and third moved on a different direction. But the lesson plan for that day was to define velocity, define the basic terms in motion, just to get an idea of what the chapter is going to be, because physics usually builds on topics. So you have to build on each definition, so by the end of the year, you get one concept done.
Okay.
So that was the lesson plan.
What learning, when you set your lessons, when you planned your lessons, what learning behaviors were you looking for? And what did you see?
Mostly when I do a lesson plan, I usually want to have all type of behaviors together. Like I know that some of my students are visual, so they like to see things, but some of them like when there's an activity involved in it. And this had a problem. Like we have a worksheet with every lesson. It's a math. It's a mathematical science. So I wanted to have a worksheet done, but before that, I wanted them to know the definitions. So I make them have their journal for the class. I have a physics journal, so they write the definitions first, and that's what they're going to reflect on for the review for the test.
Okay.
So if they don't have the things done, they don't get a daily grade, and they don't have a notes to fall back on. So I want them to take the responsibility of that. So if they don't have it, then being 17-year-old, you have to get it. So
Definitely, I agree with you. At what point did you understand that the students are learning it? How do you know that they're getting what you're teaching?
Usually after every section, I have a unit. Like I usually have questions on the board, and I suddenly decided I have a pop quiz. So if they don't get it's very simple. I'll ask them about a unit we discussed or something, a topic or a line or a statement. If they're not able to repeat what I said in class that day, even one word, that means they're not listening to me.
True.
So usually my exit ticket would be write the definition of this or the unit for that. So it's just one word, but that gets them going, and I know that they're stuck in a chapter, so I don't move on. I just finish that and then I move on. So.
Okay, so you want to be clear that the kids understood
Yes,
whatever you want to
because of the
establish that
subject I'm teaching, because the subject builds on things.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Did you have any kind of concern before you started this? Did you have any concepts would be really beyond their knowledge, or
The math,
have any concerns like that?
the math I know is going to be a problem, because many of them are doing algebra right now, or they have skipped algebra part before they came into this. And unfortunately, all of these have algebraic terms in them, so they need to know how to manipulate equations. So I know for sure that they'll have problems with math. That's the thing that they're all struggling with, and we're going to see how we're going to overcome that, though. But yes.
Okay. So what are you going to do in case the students have not had their algebra class before? So how are you going to help? How are you going to start?
That's the thing we're working on now. There's tutorials that they can come, but there's only so much that we can push. So they have to come in for the tutorials. So every day I'm planning to make them do as many worksheets as I can. And if they work it out in class, something would stick with them and something will get back to them during an exam.
Mm-hmm.
So